Hey everyone! Today we're going to dive into 10 really common habits that might be secretly holding you back from reaching your full potential. This is all based on some fantastic insights from a popular Japanese analysis. Let's get right into it.
Just think about that for a second. We spend so much time looking for all these external reasons why we're not getting ahead. But what if the biggest thing in your way is something you do every single day without even realizing it? So, the analysis we're pulling from today lays out these 10 traits. But here's the key. It's not about criticism. Think of these as signposts for self-improvement. Our goal here isn't to judge, it's simply to become more aware. So, let's begin. Okay, so first up, we're going to look inward. We're talking about the mindset traps. These are all about the stories we tell ourselves, the internal beliefs that can shape and sometimes really limit our reality, often without us even knowing it. And in this first group, we're going to break down 4 really subtle but powerful traps. This idea that you're just inherently special, the myth that all hard work is good work, the danger of hanging on to past wins, and the damage that comes from having double standards. So the first trap is thinking you're somehow special or different from everyone else. When that belief isn't backed up by actual, real work, it doesn't lead to success. It actually leads to isolation. You end up not listening, not collaborating, and well, you stop growing.
And, you know what? There's actually some fascinating science on this. Professor Shugo Hada from Meiji University points out that as we start to feel more powerful or special, our ability to empathize with other people can literally decline. That makes it so much harder to connect with and learn from the people around us.
All right, next is the effort trap. This is the idea that all effort is good effort. We're told our whole lives to just work harder, but this analysis argues that's a trap. True effectiveness isn't about being busy, it's about being strategic. The goal is to find the smartest, most efficient path, not just the one that takes the most hours. Now this one, it's so subtle, but man, is it a big one. When we cling to what worked for us yesterday, we become completely blind to what's needed today. This mindset makes you rigid, unable to adapt, and it means you miss out on new ways of thinking and all these fresh opportunities for growth. And this chart lays out the final mindset trap perfectly. The double standard. It's when we're super tough on other people, but always make excuses for ourselves. This is just a fast track to destroying trust. And maybe even worse, it completely blocks you from learning, because if you never admit your own mistakes, you can never, ever learn from them.
All right, let's switch gears. We've looked at our internal mindset. Now let's explore how we interact with the world around us. We're talking about communication gaps. These are the habits that affect how we connect with people and either build up or totally tear down our credibility.
In this section, we're going to hit on 3 big ones that can really undermine us. The fear of admitting you don't know something, speaking way too fast or way too slow, and finally, the habit of not caring about where your information actually comes from. You know, so many of us feel this pressure, this need to have all the answers. But pretending you know something when you don't, that just slams the door shut on any chance to learn. The source makes a great point here. Saying I don't know isn't a weakness at all. It's an invitation to grow, and it's something people who learn fast do all the time. The speed at which we talk, it says a lot. According to the source, talking too fast can signal that your thoughts are kind of shallow, not fully baked. On the flip side, talking too slowly might make people think you're struggling to even organize your ideas. The real sweet spot is finding a balanced, deliberate pace that helps you communicate clearly. Oh man, in the world we live in today, this one is just huge. If you're sharing stuff, claims, data, whatever, without knowing or saying where it came from, you risk spreading bad info and, well, you lose credibility, fast. Taking that extra second to check your source, that's what careful, smart thinkers do.
Okay, on to our final category, and this one is all about action, or, the lack of it. These are the action blockers. The habits that get directly in the way of actually getting things done, solving problems, and learning new skills.
So to wrap this all up, we're going to look at 3 final habits. The trap of being disorganized, which leads to slow work, the failure to ask that all-important question, why, and the tendency we sometimes have to just avoid ideas that seem too complicated. Yeah, the source is super clear on this. When it talks about slow work, it doesn't mean being careful. It means being unplanned. When you just jump into tasks at random without thinking about what's important or what's hard, you just end up wasting time, blowing deadlines, and people stop trusting you to get things done.
But hey, the good news is there's a simple fix.
Before you start anything, just take a second. First, prioritize. Figure out what's most important. Then, organize. Map out the actual steps to get it done. And only then, you execute. That little three-step process turns total chaos into a clear, efficient workflow.
This one is huge. If something goes wrong and you don't pause to ask, wait, why did that happen? You are almost guaranteed to make the same mistake again. That lack of curiosity, of just not getting into the habit of asking why, is a massive wall that stops you from learning from your own experience.
In our final habit, avoiding ideas that are hard. If you only ever stick to the simple stuff you get right away, you never build the mental muscles you need for flexible thinking. It's interesting, the source even points to a UK study that showed kids with lower abilities really struggle with applying knowledge, a skill you only build by wrestling with complexity.
So, we've gone through all 10 of these habits. What now? Where does this leave us? Let's pull this all together and figure out the path forward.
Here's the most important thing to remember. None of these are permanent flaws in your character. They are just common, identifiable roadblocks that we all can run into. And the single most powerful tool you have against them is just awareness. Recognizing them is the first step to real change.
So what's the antidote? How do we fight back against these habits? Well, it really all boils down to these 4 things: cultivating honest self-awareness, embracing challenging ideas instead of running from them, making a real commitment to learn from every mistake, and always focusing on smart, efficient action.
So we've laid out the map, right? We've pointed out the potential roadblocks. Just knowing they exist and seeing them in yourself is a huge leap forward. So the only real question left is, now that you're aware, what's your first step going to be?